This afternoon. Alrighty then. So we're gonna get right into the video. For those of you who don't know, but if you are a fan, you probably do because all of us have been keeping up with it. Death Battle has been confirmed to not only be not dead, but it is also returning with season 11, and they've already released some of the matchups that will be happening. Now, you may be wondering how I can be making this video, like considering that we don't know all of the matchups yet. Well, this is what we got so far. We've got 12, which would automatically be like a season if they did all these, but we really couldn't handle 3 matchups in one season. It would drive me nuts. But here's how the ranking is going to work. I'm going to give the matchup a brief, like, why I think it's there, and then I'll give you who I want to win and if I think that person is actually going to win or not. Getting into the video, my Yang versus Tifa rematch, only because I do understand, like, Tifa fans probably do want to see a Tifa victory, and I do see the prospects here. If you do have the rematches and make the other side like as the winners, then you can just watch your preferenced winner. There's a Yang versus Tifa with a Yang winner, and then there's a Yang versus Tifa with a Tifa winner, and everybody's happy. But at the same time, I don't know, out of the rematches that they had, at least the 3 that they had like listed as the main 3, I do feel like this is probably the weakest candidate for having a rematch, considering that the other one, like, fans to this day, like, I guarantee that that video has twice as many dislikes as its likes, and I didn't particularly like, I don't get too much into Green Lantern lore, so maybe he can beat Ben 10. I don't know. I didn't think the battle was too bad, but not everybody can handle their favorite person losing. And so, like, I thought that one was stronger candidate, and then the other one being Master Chief versus Doom Guy. That's just a personal. Like, I'll get into that one more when we get there. For now, I guess I'm going to move on to the number... Oh, wait, I forgot. My pick for this, believe it or not, despite how it might have sounded, I do want Tifa to win. I was a little disappointed that she had lost the first time around, but she might win this time around. Now, do I think she's going to win? This is about a 50-50. I think that, yeah. Well, I guess I'll give it a 75, because whereas I do think that they probably would pick the one that, because the thing about these is all 3 of these are battles that people are like, no, the other person should have won, so I almost guarantee that they're trying to throw out the winner in this, as the other person. But they may stick to their guns. They did not do an alternative winner in the fight with Samus Aran and Boba Fett, which I'm happy about, but it's just something to think about. Anyway, number 11, we've got Light versus Columbo. Now, the thing about Light versus Columbo that makes it a little bit on the lower side is I don't know exactly how this one would pan out in terms of, like, actually being a fight. It's interesting. Oh, wow. I didn't realize you tuned in. Hey, bro. I can actually see it there, which, funny enough, you can see I was playing Red Dead before this. For those who don't know, this is my friend and fellow YouTube buddy, Alien Crow Gaming and More. Yeah, Uh, go ahead and say hi. Um, yeah, technically, I guess he has a point there because the ring does count as a being. I never thought of that, but um, yeah, Light versus Columbo could in fact be interesting. I am actually like kind of looking forward to it. The only reason it's on the lower tier is um, Light has the ability to like kill somebody with a magic book, and Columbo is a cop. Um, I don't see the how exactly this would play out. Except with Columbo's death. It's going to be interesting though if they actually do it. I'm genuinely like intrigued by this. Not exactly excited, but intrigued. Um, the number 10 spot is what we was just talking about, which is the Ben 10 versus Green Lantern rematch. And again, I'm not gonna touch up too much on this one, like with the Yang and Tifa one. Who would I pick for a winner? It would be Ben 10 because, like I said, I just don't know too much about Green Lantern lore, and of course they had to use Hal Jordan, and Hal Jordan is my least favorite Green Lantern. Like, I probably would have picked Green Lantern if it would have been Guy Gardner, John Stewart, Jessica Carr, but no, it had to be Hal Jordan. So I go with Ben. And I do think that Ben stands a better chance, realistically. And as old as the battle is, I would just like to see the improved graphics. That's another thing that kind of made this one stomp out Yang versus Tifa a little bit, is Yang versus Tifa's graphics haven't, aged too badly yet, whereas Ben, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern is a little bit older. It's not the worst graphic death battle by far. If they was going to redo death battles for graphics, Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker could, reuse some loving. But yeah, I think it could use that. Other than that, it wouldn't be my pick for the one that they redo. That's for later on, which I've already told you what it is. But nah. For now, we're going to move on to the number 9 pick, and that is going to be a new... Yeah, okay. So apparently he missed the beginning of the video. I'll recap for him real quick. Yang Xiaolong from RWBY versus Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy was a death battle that happened. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Alien Crow Gaming and More is not like an active fan of Death Battle, so like I am his connection to Death Battle. I don't know if I've ever told you or not, but Tifa lost. She lost to Yang, and a lot of people were pissed off about it, which is why, and you might have missed this at the beginning of the video. They have a poll where they're doing they're gonna redo a match. They've done it a couple times before. They redid Samus Aran versus Boba Fett, which is the first death battle on the channel. They redid Mario versus Sonic. They redid Link versus Cloud. It's been done a couple of times, but Season 11 is going to have another rematch, and the three that they showed as like the big three that they you could donate for were Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, Master Chief versus not Master Chief versus Doom Guy, and Yang versus Tifa, because people were pissed off about the winners of all three of those. People wanted Ben to win, people wanted Tifa to win, and people wanted Doom Guy to win. So with that recap out of the way, yeah, with the Fett versus Samus Aran, I like that because it doesn't have an alternative winner like Cloud versus Link did, which I want to touch up on that. The stupidity of like having the rematch in that with like, I don't know, the guise of logic. So when the match first came out, it was before Breath of the Wild came out. So you just had, you know, standard Link and Cloud. Now, when they redid the match, Breath of the Wild had come out and given Link all sorts of new abilities with not a whole lot of new weaknesses to exploit. Yet, Cloud somehow came out on top the second time around. This kind of showed to me that Death Battle does not, in fact, use much logic when it comes to their actual, like, battles. It's still kind of fun, though, to watch Death Battle. I'm not going to take that away. But how can somebody get stronger and then lose in a rematch? But Samus versus Boba Fett played out the same way both times. Samus Aran came out on top. But getting back into the ranking list, we got Bardock versus Omni-Man. Now, I picked Omni-Man because I don't watch a whole lot of Dragon Ball, so I don't know. Usually, like, when it's a Dragon Ball person versus somebody else, I usually have, like, the other person in mind, simply because, like, I don't watch Dragon Ball, so I have no, like, emotional attachment to these characters. And also, someone pointed out that, like, it's actually interesting. Dragon Ball characters are supposed to have, like, planet-breaking abilities or whatever. Like Goku, for instance, is supposed to have, like, planetary, combat skills. However, in the manga, at least, according to, and I'm just following, this guy's logic because I have not, I've never seen Dragon Ball. According to a YouTuber named Nemesis Bloodrife, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but something like that. Alright, good luck on the interview. But yeah, if you go to that YouTuber, he will actually say that Dragon Ball characters, they in fact have never actually been shown to, besides like the god characters, have planetary busting abilities. They can send shockwaves, like in the fight with Goku versus Beerus, and those are pretty devastating, but overall not planet busting. I don't know the logic behind that. That's all Bloodscythe, Bloodsrith. That's all that guy. I'm going with that. I'm accepting that as gospel. But more than that, I like Omni-Man's character, and I would like to see him have an actual fight, considering his fight with Homelander was, well, sad. You basically just watched Homelander get crushed. That's all there was to it. It wasn't a fight. So I'm hoping that Bardock versus Omni-Man is actually more, evenly matched. Blow for blow type deal. But we're gonna move on to the number 8 spot, and I won't touch up on this one near as much, especially since he's gone. But Master Chief versus Doomguy, I would love to see this one redid personally, because one, I like both games, and two, its graphics have not aged well. Whereas Ben 10 versus Green Lantern's graphics are acceptable, and Yang and Tifa's are, you know, pretty decent considering. Um, uh, Honestly, Master Chief versus Doom Guy is just bad in terms of how the graphics look. Um, so with that being said, um, we're gonna move on to the number. Oh, Doom Guy for sure. By the way, number 7, we've got Mahito versus Shigaraki. Now, this one, some people just don't seem as hyped up for as me. But this is one of the ones that I actually was sitting there brainstorming, and like, I actually do, in fact, like, want this one. Maybe not as bad as like I want some of the other ones, which is why it's only number 7. But I actually did want this one. It was on my long list of like wanted death battles, and believe me, it's long. But it's one of the newer editions as well, because I don't know anything about Jujutsu Kaisen, so like I went and watched this list, like, that was showing like the abilities of everybody from Jujutsu Kaisen, and Mahito actually sprang me as like pretty similar to Shigaraki, and so I don't know exactly how close their abilities are, but it does seem like they're in the same ballpark, and I would like to see Shigaraki win this fight, only because, like, I don't know, something about the guy is just, I want to see him win. I'm not going to touch up too much more on this one because I don't have too much more to say, considering I don't know who Mahito is all that well. We're going to move on to number 6, which is wanted by a lot more people, but again, it's not that I don't know Kyle Rainier, it's I know Simone a lot better, and I don't know Kyle Rainier all that well. So that considering, like, my heart is with Simone, but considering the Green Lantern's extensive abilities, I would have to give it to Kyle and say that Kyle Rainier is going to win this. But this is going to be one of the best fights, from what I hear, considering that, like, when it comes to power scaling, I guess these two are probably the top tier. So that being said, yeah, this fight I'm actually really pumped up for, and considering that, everything else must be like better for me, right? Well, exactly. We're gonna get into Kratos versus Asura. Asura? I'm not sure. I've never played Asura's Wrath, but I have seen the guy on tons of like fighting lists, and ever since I have seen him, you know, I've seen him on Cartoon Fight Club, and you know, well, I can't think of any of the other ones to throw out there just off the top of my head, but I've seen him in a couple of them. And when I seen this guy fight, instantly I was like, he needs to fight Kratos. Like, this is the fight I need in my life. And then, lo and behold, it was pitched for season 11, and I was like, this is gold. This is what I've been waiting for. Now, I don't know exactly how even this fight's gonna be. It could be relatively one-sided, but I want to see both of these guys in action. As for who I want to see come out on top, considering that I don't, you know, I've never played Asura's Wrath, it's obviously Kratos, but that's neither here or there. Now we're going to move into ones that I am actually conflicted, and like, I couldn't pick a winner on, or at least I did pick a winner, but it's very loosely picked. Number 4 is Ruby versus Maka, which I want for a handful of reasons. One, it would then complete, you know, the whole every member of RWBY being in death battle. For those of you who have only seen a handful of death battles and don't know, Waishni has fought in death battle against Mitsuru. Mitsuru, I'm just gonna go with that. From Persona 3, which Weiss lost. And then of course we've touched up on it, Yang versus Tifa, which Tifa lost. And then you've got Blake Belladonna versus Misaka, I think her name is, from Attack on Titan, which Blake won. But there's never been a death battle with RWBY. And people have been wanting this battle. I'm pretty sure they wanted this battle before like the other ones came out. Because not only do these two characters just mix well together, but it's also one of those, like, it's very easy for the fan base to get divided on, especially you know, Rooster Teeth is the ones that made RWBY, and so this is probably like the final piece of RWBY content that they, you know, are allowed to make, you know, and at least in terms of them, which I don't know if Wiz and Boomstick worked on, you know, RWBY or not, but yeah. My pick for it is Maka, not because I like her better, but because I do think that in this case, two heads are better than one. Whereas Crescent Rose is a very good weapon, and, you know, Maka's weapon actually utilized, like, you know, is able to be utilized as another person, which can come in handy, in multiple situations. Instances, I've even seen Soul be half scythe and half human, you know, which, again, very handy tactic. But if RWBY comes out on top and beats Maka, I wouldn't be upset. I'd probably have to listen to the explanation to figure out, you know, what they're trying to feed me on how. But yeah, this is a matchup I've been looking forward to for a while. But one that I've been looking forward to a little bit more is Bowser versus Eggman. Now, I've wanted this one ever since, like, I seen the fight with you know, okay, who did Bowser fight? I think it was Ganondorf, or was it just Ganon? He fought one of them. Either way, I've wanted this fight since then, especially since both Bowser and Eggman have appeared on Death Battle. Eggman has yet to officially lose on Death Battle, whereas Bowser, I would like to see take a win on Death Battle. You wouldn't be able to say like Eggman has a win on Death Battle. He'd have a tie and a loss, but plus I like Bowser a lot more. I've always been like a big Mario fan, so yeah, Bowser was always like my top pick for this fight, but I have wanted to see this fight for a long time, and just seeing the animation that they did for it already, which for those of you who don't know, you can't see like the full fights right now, obviously, but you can see bits and pieces of 3 fights that they're working on. You can see bits and pieces from Bardock versus Omni-Man. You can see bits and pieces from Kratos versus Asura, and you can see bits and pieces from Bowser versus Eggman. Now, Bowser versus Eggman is hand drawn, whereas the other two look a little bit more 3D. But I'm still very much looking forward to this fight. Can't wait for it. It's number 3 for sure. The number 2 spot is a fight that I actually came up relatively recently, and I'm glad that Death Battle, thought along the same track. Tomcat versus Wile E. Coyote is a pretty interesting matchup. And it could be very fun as well. And since Cartoon Network was my jam, love Tom and Jerry, love Looney Tunes, both of these characters have a very strong spot in my heart. But I always wanted to see Tom come out on top just once. Even I don't know. I guess not in terms of I wanted to see him eat Jerry or whatever, but I just wanted to see him not lose for once. But considering how this goes, I honestly think that both of these guys are gonna lose. We've had instances of both people being winners, and we've had instances of both people being losers. I think that this is gonna be one of they're probably both gonna end up being losers. But I do really want to see how it goes, and it just, the only thing I hope for is they don't get me wrong, I'm satisfied with the way they ended Scooby-Doo versus Courage, but in a small way, I felt cheated out of getting to know who they thought was stronger or whatever. I just wanted to see if Scooby-Doo would win, because he's my dude. He's my favorite cartoon character ever by far. But we're getting off topic. I just hope that they don't do that with Tom and Wiley, a tie. I do want to see who comes out on top. But we finally come to the number 1 spot. This is a death battle that this is the first one I came up with off the top of my head. When I was alright, if I had to make death battle, who would I put up against each other? First one I ever thought of, Ash Ketchum versus Yugimoto. These guys were the childhood anime cartoon heroes. And whereas I liked Beyblade and Bakugan and stuff like that too, something just always stood out about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon. And something stuck out about different about both of them. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! For its unique, I don't know, almost teen-driven themes. It got dark sometimes, and it was a kid's show. So, obviously, yeah. But, and there was, I don't know. I came up with a couple different, matchups for this series, including one stupid one, just because of the accents, Meowth versus Joey Wheeler. But that's besides the point. I wanted this matchup for a long time. I honestly could go on and on and on about how much I wanted this matchup, how much thought I put into it. But at the end of the day, I do think that Yugimoto comes out on top for a handful of reasons. First of which is Heart of the Cards, obviously. Now, whereas Ash does bond with his Pokemon, and it has been shown that a bond between a trainer and a Pokemon can do some amazing things. The heart of the card can pretty much just allow you to draw whatever fucking card you need to win. Secondly, Monster Reborn. Having Ash's own Pokemon turned against him, you know, if Yugi's monsters don't cut it, then that has Yugi's foot in the door. There's also, you know, Karibo and Multiply and, you know, the Crush Card Virus, and like I could just go on and on and on about cards that, like, if they do apply to Pokemon at all, then it's one-sided. Yugi's got this. However, it might, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how they pull it off for sure, because you either count Yugi's cards as like being able to affect Pokemon, in which case, game over. Yugi's got a full deck of, even if you go by Duel Link standards, 20 cards is the Duel Link minimum. You know, 20 cards at minimum if you go by Duel Link's rules, versus your 6 Pokemon. Or you say that his cards don't affect Pokemon, in which case you've got a guy with a deck of cards versus the guy with pocket monsters. Either way, it's one-sided. It just depends on who you want to make it one-sided for, I guess. What would be interesting is if somehow they made it to where, like, how Yugi had to adapt to play Dungeon Dice Monsters, he had to adapt to Pokemon as well. He might not even use Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. Yugimoto might be using Pokemon. You gotta remember, he's the king of games. He can't turn down a game, even if it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! Related, you know, Duel Monsters, whatever they call it in that universe. But I've rambled on enough. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you are looking forward to Season 11 as much as I am. If they release more episodes, then I will do a video touching up on those as well. For those of you who just kind of came to like see what the matchups are, and for some reason you just thought to fast forward to this point in the video, congratulations, because I'll just tell you right off the rip, right here, right now, there is confirmed to be happening Yugi versus Ash, Tom versus Wily, Bowser versus Eggman, Ruby versus Maka, Kratos versus Asura, I believe Simone versus White Lantern, Mahito versus Shigaraki, Bardock versus Omni-Man, and that is it for like confirmed. I believe that Light versus Colombo has also been confirmed, but I cannot confirm that that is confirmed. And then we're gonna get a rematch, which will either be Yang versus Tifa, Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, or Master Chief versus Doom Guy. I do not think that they are going to throw all three of these into one season, especially since they have said in the poll that you can vote for another rematch that you'd like to see, in which case I honestly think it's just going to come down to like whichever one has the highest votes is going to be the one to get in the season. Now, which one do I think is going to get in there? Ben 10 versus Green Lantern, hands down. But I digress. That is enough. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see a better video about something like this, in terms of like talking about Death Battle and its future and what they have said in terms of you know, season 11 and its confirmation, you can go to one of two YouTube channels that I checked out before doing this video. Those being give me a second. I know they gotta be in here somewhere. I thought I had it pulled up on my phone just so I could go in there and look at it, but I guess not. If I ever learn how to edit, I'll edit this part out. That way, like, you don't have to sit through the endless silence, but I'll just... Alright, so you guys can check out the YouTube channel that I mentioned earlier, which is that Blood Scythe guy. I honestly don't know if I'm saying that right, so I'm just gonna stop like trying to embarrass myself on that front. However, there is also another YouTube channel that you can check out that talks a little bit more in depth about what's coming and you know, what's gonna be the future, all that good stuff. That's gonna be the Raptor. So if you guys want to check it out, please feel free to go and check out either one of those YouTube channels. I may even leave a link in the description at some point so you guys can have an easier time finding them. But I'm gonna say hasta la pasta, see you later, and have a fantastic night.